Have you ever wondered what it takes to inflate one of those colossal golf domes? We've been curious ourselves, so let's head over to the White Pines Golf Course for the epic raising of its seasonal dome. The dome is comprised of many diverse elements, but there are three in particular that need to be addressed on day one. First, there's the more than 4 miles of bundled aircraft cable. It's heavy enough that forklifts have to place them in strategic locations around the perimeter. Second, there are approximately 600 anchoring bolts. They're spaced 2 feet apart. Last and certainly not least is the skin of the dome itself. It's so large it comes in 5 separate pieces.
It weighs 100,000 pounds. 100,000 pounds when you're pulling and tugging is a lot of weight, and most of it is done by hand. So we have about 50 people out here, each taking a little section of the dome, pulling and tugging until it gets in place. This year it took us about 7 days before we were ready to put it up.
The process ideally takes 3 to 4 days, but Mother Nature takes the air out of that bubble, forcing the uninflated dome to sit idle for 3 long days.
We won't inflate the dome when the winds are higher than 8-10 miles an hour. When it gets to 12, 15, 20 miles an hour, conceivably it could damage the dome, and you might risk a little bit of injury to even a person if they're standing on the dome.
You want a calm day. It's a big balloon. Once it's inflated, it's solid, and the aircraft cable holds it down. Again, the air holds it up, so now you can make it pretty sturdy, pretty rigid. But while it's going up, if a gust of wind comes up and hits this end, it could blow the whole thing the other direction. You got guys working inside, you got guys standing working on the cables outside. That could be dangerous for those guys.
The weather eventually cooperates and the time comes to put some air into this big balloon. This is just one of 4 fans used to inflate the dome. The process can take up to 8 hours, and there's a lot of work that must take place within that time frame, especially the first few hours. Because the dome is only partially inflated, the ceiling is low to the ground and thus very accessible. This is the time to put up the hitting targets. Since they'll eventually hang 100 feet in the air, it's important to attach and align them now.
We want to make sure that the targets hang at a perfect angle so they're nice and flat and even and geometrically in perfect shape. So if they're not quite where we like them, we'll take it down and try to get it exactly where it needs to go. Yeah, you know what, guys, let's, we want it a little bit further to the right, don't we?
Wow.
Let's take it down.
The time-lapsed footage here clearly shows the inflating and deflating taking place in order to make all those adjustments. 8 hours after the fans are turned on, the dome finally reaches full inflation. There's still more to do, though, before the doors open to the public.
We still have to clean it up and paint and power wash and do all that kind of stuff. When it's ready to go and the people start coming in here, this dome looks incredibly good.